My husband cheated with my best friend, then they tried to adopt my daughter. When I refused, my best friend kidnapped her. Now she's facing charges throwaway because my husband stalks Reddit. Also, I know he isn't cheating on me. He's at home more often than not, and I have full access to his electronics, as does he to mine. Note, some identifying details have been changed to protect my privacy, such as names. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both our lives, as we both came from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband. She said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. WTF. She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autistic, and has PTSD, which causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often too. However, last year my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because, at the time, I was working at a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed, and I had become busier to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less, and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently, I applied to school and am currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college too. I've been super busy. One day, my husband gets a text, and it's from my best friend. She asks if they can talk, as she was upset. He took the phone call with me protesting, and a few minutes later said, "Sandra, fake name, we need to go get Carla, fake name. Her father is picking a fight with her." I get upset as we were watching a movie together, and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave me the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized, and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did was not only inappropriate but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Ever since, when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my mother-in-law overheard a conversation with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, "No, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help. That she is going through a hard time. Blah blah blah." It is important to note that my mother-in-law was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We are also extremely close, and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion, and my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match, and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. I asked him, "How would you feel if I had asked you if another man could sleep in the bed with us?" He kind of deflated and tried to say, "It's different." Blah blah blah. His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, "It is the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with the excuses." James respects Mark quite a lot, actually. Mark raised him since he was 8, and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settled, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him, and that was that. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. She says it's because she is bored and has no one else to talk to. I snap. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation, how when she calls him he answers, how it is making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response? "She's just lonely. You're letting it get to you." That night, I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time they talk. She complains about her life, etc. Almost like she is his girlfriend or something. I am starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Thanks, everyone, for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him, with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with a resolution in a couple of days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Edit 2. My husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla, and she said that we could talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Edit 3. I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight, alone, as her schedule has changed. We're going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully, I will have some news. Edit 4. I need some time. I will post an update later on. My heart is hurting. Hubby and I are getting a divorce. Thank you for understanding, everybody. Update 1. This update is hard. Everything about this situation sucks, and I don't know if I will be okay for some time. Baby and I are currently staying with my friend Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or our mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group. As most of you assumed, James and Carla are indeed having an affair. It started about 3 months ago and just turned physical 1 month ago. They were planning on just up and leaving after James served me divorce papers. They used the ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact. I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse. That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason? My borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paperwork and left. I am contacting a lawyer as I am writing this. I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I called him afterward and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterward. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with the delivery of our daughter, where I bled my entire labor. I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any extraneous activity for 3 months, including sexual activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all my doctor's appointments and not getting the sex that he wanted. I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, it will kill me next time. James wanted at least 2 more kids, and this put an end to his plans. I married a monster. We were together since we were 15, and this is how he repays me? I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I am absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure if I am going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There is no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have any access to the baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice. Edit. I forgot to add that I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student. They have kicked James out, and he is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for divorce proceedings. Update 2. Sorry I have been radio silent. I spoke to a lawyer who is helping me at a reduced rate. My in-laws are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer against their wayward son. With all the info that I have, including some threatening texts from Carla and James, I have decided to file for a protection order. They were even stupid enough to send me a text that pretty much confirmed the blackmail. I intend to use this to my advantage in the upcoming divorce proceedings as evidence of emotional abuse. James has continued to maintain that I need to terminate my rights to our daughter so that he can run away with Carla, but I shut that down. My little girl is the light of my life and my only chance to be a mom, which is something I have always wanted to do. I finally got a clean bill of health from my doctor after months of dealing with postnatal complications. Needless to say, no more babies for me. I could die if I get pregnant again. I go to court Friday for our divorce proceedings. We have a mediator that my lawyer is speaking to directly for me, so I don't have to deal with James's bully tactics. My lawyer is a no-nonsense kind of man, and I like that about him. My in-laws have decided to cut ties with James after this. He openly disrespected them for giving me a place to stay after I was kicked from the house and the threats. The emotional anguish he has been putting me through has been too much. They've always seen me as their own daughter and have treated me as such. They are just as angry at James for his involvement in all this as I am. That's why they decided to foot the cost of a lawyer since I was a stay-at-home mom. My therapist has upped my therapy sessions to 3 times a week. I was also formally diagnosed with DID recently, which only came out when I blacked out in a therapy session. My therapist and psychiatrist have been communicating and have suspected for a while that I have it, but it was confirmed after my recent development in therapy. I haven't told James this and never intend to. My mother-in-law does know and has been my rock through all of this. As for the commenters on RA that say that I moved too quickly out of the house for it to seem real, I have one thing to say. I have very little and had to go back and grab the baby's stuff. My soon-to-be ex and Carla have gone on a weekend getaway to my dream location, which I knew they did to hurt me even more. The pics were sent to me by my current friend who gave me a place for a few days before my in-laws gave me a place in their home. Baby girl is adjusting to life without her daddy around all the time. She is super fussy most of the time, and I am sure she misses having him around. It breaks my heart to pieces. Update 3. I have some great news. Baby girl is safe with me. My lawyer pulled through for me, and my ex wants this divorce to be over with as soon as possible. First of all, I got full custody of my daughter with supervised visitation from my ex. His own words came back to haunt him. I had proof of all his threats and the blackmail of him trying to get me to sign away my rights, and the judge wasn't happy. He tore into James and Carla about their behavior and how they tried to blackmail me and how they were lucky that I didn't press charges for extortion. Because of their bad behavior, he told them that he couldn't in conscience do shared custody because of the evidence of their behavior towards me. He was also worried that they would try to run off with her. Next up, because of all the behavior and aggression towards me that was unwarranted, my protection order was granted. My mother-in-law, who stayed beside me in court, is the one who volunteered to facilitate the supervised visits until my divorce becomes final. If Carla and James try to contact me again, unless it is strictly about our daughter, then they both will go to jail. James has to pay me child support. Of course, he tried to protest it, but it wasn't happening. Lastly, after court, James said something that kind of broke my heart about our daughter. If he can't have primary custody, then he is going to petition to terminate his rights. He doesn't want to be tied to me anymore and is willing to let my daughter suffer for it. So my daughter just pretty much lost her father because he would rather break away from me and pretend that I don't exist. I have some additional information from Carla that she said to me afterward. Apparently, she is infertile due to an illness she suffered from as a teenager. She wanted a baby so bad and to get me out of the picture so that they could play happy family with my daughter. I was stunned. She then asked me if I was happy for tearing their family apart. I had to look at her for a second. She tore my family apart. I wanted to slap her so bad. Because of her, my daughter is probably going to lose her father. I'm sad. That is all that I have for you. My next update will probably be when the divorce finally happens. Thanks for reading this. Small update. This update is heavy. Court was on Friday, and I was waiting for the dust to settle before I posted 2 days ago. My soon-to-be ex-husband has been hospitalized. Carla called me this morning, crying despite the order. James tried to commit suicide this morning, and she found him just in time. He tried to OD on his prescriptions, and now he is in the hospital. The doctors don't know how long he will be there, but I will keep my hopes up for a speedy recovery. Despite the literal hell he has put me through, he is still the father of my daughter. I'm not pressing charges this time against Carla because it was a dire emergency. James is stable, and they are transferring him to another facility for the foreseeable future. I feel almost sorry for her. I don't know when I will be able to update again. I have a lot to deal with and emergency care to plan for. Please keep me in your thoughts as I navigate this difficult situation. Thank you. Update 4. I didn't think I'd be back with an update, but it has been 2 weeks since soon-to-be ex-husband was hospitalized for a suicide attempt. Since we have put divorce proceedings on hold for a while until he gets out of the hospital, I've been taking the steps to spend time with my daughter and my in-laws, who have been my rocks in this situation. Life has stabilized for me for a bit. I'm still acclimating to my DID diagnosis. I've been out of it for a few days now, due to some heavy-duty painkillers. But I know some of you are here to see how this saga ends. On to the biggest part of the update. Carla has been arrested and is being charged with breaking a protective order, aggravated assault, and attempted kidnapping, plus a whole slew of other charges. Here is what happened. I was out and about in town yesterday, trying to get a few errands done. I was starting to get hungry and decided to get some food at my favorite spot. It was a small Italian restaurant that I used to go to with my husband before the divorce proceedings started. I ordered my food and sat down to wait for my order. As my food was being handed to me, I saw Carla storm in like she owned the place and decided to confront me. She was hysterical, and I couldn't make sense of what she was trying to say. She then started to punch and kick me. To make a long story short, Carla broke my nose and arm, fractured my left eye socket, and punctured a lung. When she realized what she had done, she panicked and tried to take my stroller while I was fighting to stay conscious. Someone saw what she was trying to do and stopped her before she could escape. I woke to police in my room and my in-laws holding my daughter. The police filled me in on what happened, and now Carla is in jail awaiting a court hearing. Because of the nature of my injuries, police are taking the decision to press charges out of my hands. Not that I'd try to drop the charges anyway. So yeah, this is where I am at. Sorry if it seems super lame, I will update again after Carla's court date in a few days. Much love, guys. Update 5. Carla is still sitting in jail. She is facing some serious prison time, and I'm so happy that I can put her behind me. I also got out of the hospital a day and a half ago. First of all, let me begin with a small update on my soon-to-be ex-husband. He has been receptive to treatment and will be leaving the hospital next Monday. My mother-in-law has been keeping me up to date on his condition, and he is stable now. A lot of you were right. Carla took advantage of his manic episode and need for a stronger dosage of his medicine by convincing him to sleep with her. He has since broken up with her and begged his mother to tell me that he does want another chance to be my husband. That's why she attacked me the other day. She couldn't handle his rejection. To be clear, I'm not giving him another chance. He destroyed my trust by not only cheating on me but by refusing his medicines for a while and threatening me and our daughter. I'm still going through with the divorce, but I may go to counseling to review the custody arrangement and give him more supervised visitation. He's still her father after all. Also, I got a job recently. I was told I got the position the day before I was released from the hospital. I haven't read all of your messages of support, but the ones that I have read, thank you. Carla is still in jail with no chance to get out before her next hearing. Hopefully, she gets what is coming to her. Hubby is stabilizing and begging for another chance, and I am looking forward to starting my career. I will be updating again in about a week. Edit, I just read the comments, and some of them are rather harsh about me saying I want to try to give him a little more supervised visits. Say what you want, but soon-to-be ex-husband can go back and try to get the custody order reviewed when he gets out. As long as he is stable and undergoes mandated therapy, the judges here will rule in his favor. The review of his custody arrangement is per my lawyer's advice. Otherwise, when he gets better, he can file to have it amended. It's just easier to be agreeable rather than fight it out. I have no more energy to do so. Carla is in jail, so my biggest threat is gone. She isn't getting out for some time. Not even her family's influence can help her. I'd rather agree to longer visits than risk having him gain even an ounce of unsupervised custody. At least this way, I know my in-laws will get her out of there if he is dangerous. It will also look better on me during this divorce process. Update 6. My soon-to-be ex-husband just got out of the hospital. He is staying at his home, alone. He is so miserable now that he has lost everything. His mom and stepdad have cut him off for the most part, except during visits with our daughter. His mom told me that he is going to sign away his rights once I get married again, if that is what I want. According to her, he wants to reconcile but knows that I am not willing to do so. He wants his life back before this whole Carla debacle started. He isn't fighting custody at all either. He doesn't want any more visitation than he already has. He is willing to pay child support and alimony to speed along this divorce. He is cognizant of the damage he has done to our family. For context, my mother cheated on my father, and it broke up my family before I was old enough to remember. Their divorce was final when I was only a year old, and my mother abandoned me. I cannot stand cheaters. They destroy lives. James understands this too. Cheating is that hard line for me, so James knew he messed up. Right now, I have an appointment Friday for a discussion with my lawyer about the terms of our divorce and formalizing custody. James's parents are helping me with arrangements for my own apartment. Thank you, everyone. I won't update again until the divorce is final, which should be in 3 months at least. Goodbye for now.